All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Good evening, everybody. Oh, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. That's what I said. Let's get it. Make some adjustments to secondary devices in the background. It's good to see y'all up in here. Welcome, 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 everyone. You know what time it is. Okay. We got some people in the house. We got us some people in the house tonight. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to have a very interesting conversation tonight, and it is regarding our California City Boys, Classic and Cincere Pettus, the two toddlers that went missing on December 21st of 2020 out of California City, California. This has been a very, very interesting case, to say the least. And I'm sure that a lot of you that have been following the case have realized that we have come to a turning point finally in this case to where we are going to see justice done. And I hope it is the same justice that this case gets that the Ahmaud Arbery case got. Full 100% complete justice, hands down. Hands down. And so, yes, I want to welcome all of you here tonight. Miss At It Again Media, hello, how are you? Good to see you. Now I'm getting used to seeing your name in my chat room. That's nice. I gotta jump over to say hello to you on your channel. I know, but when you go live in the afternoon with Miss Yunu, I'm out and about taking care of business, but I swing back around and check out what y'all be doing now. But it's good to see you this evening. Thank you for showing. We got 12-step woman holding us down tonight in blue, 12-step. Much love to you. We've got Miss Jan in the house. Miss Jan, thank you so much. I'm just looking at my phone, and much love to you for sending that to me. Much, much love. I tell you, the ladies in John Q's house, they know how to hold him down. So that's some extra whipped cream that I will most certainly enjoy. Oh man. All right. Let's see who else is up in the house. We got Miss Jan in the house. We got 12-step holding us down. We've got Miss Heather in the house tonight. Welcome, Miss Heather. You've been of great help in the last live that I covered. And it was supposed to be a test live, and that live went 5 hours and change. So that's an extraordinary test, but we covered some ground in that live, though. Thank you so much. Love your support. All right, we've got Miss Tanya M in the house. That's right, Tanya. Justice for the boys. Justice for the boys. Absolutely. Well, tonight we're going to be Little Miss Sunshine is up in the house. Let me do the old-fashioned down here, because we got a number of people showing up in here, and my little screen over here, I'm using a secondary device, so sometimes it moves and sometimes it don't. Well, let me just double check on the big screen here. Make sure that we got everybody held down and accountable for tonight's live. We've got 12-step woman. We've got Miss Heather. We've got Miss Anna. Miss Anna is in the house. Thank you, Miss Hannah. And thank you for your love and support as well. I turned around and off that live and looked at my phone and I got blown away. I said, wait a minute. I didn't hear all this going on in the background, but sure enough, we had some ladies holding John Q down last time. Miss Anna, thank you so much, love. We also had Aquahoma come in and share the appreciation and love that she helps to support on this channel as well. Also, Miss Marley 13 came right behind. I mean, y'all ladies just walk right on through that door and just say, here you go, John, here you go. You know you got my support. And that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to know that you're appreciated. Stasia Hart is in the house. Welcome. Mama J is in the house. All right, now we're cooking. Little Miss Sunshine is in the house. Much love to you. Connie Lockridge. Hello, Connie is in the house. My goodness. Lakeisha Douglas is in the house. Y'all stepping in here hard and heavy. Charlene Ferguson is in the house. Miss Rachel is in the house. I like the name you have there, Miss Rachel. Rachelism. But I call you Miss Rachel. You know who you is. We got FAAFO Okie 420 Mama in the house. Yeah, almost it looked like, I bet you got a license plate with that name on it, don't you? Oh man. But much love to you. Maria Baja is in the house. She supports the boys. Everyone here supports the boys. Support with Stefa is in the house. Now this is starting to move along. Miss Monica is in the house. Justice for Classic and Sincere. The Breakdown is in the house. Seashore Girl from New Jersey is in the house. Sharon Nation, excuse me, Sharrow's Nation is in the house. Good evening, Mr. Bossman Blake. All right, bro. Much love to you. Thank you. Always here. Always here. Shout out to Mr. Bossman Blake. Leslie B is in the house. My goodness, where y'all coming from? Coming from the heart. That's where you're coming from. Oh, we got Miss Camille is in the house in blue, holding it down. Hello, Miss Camille. We got moderators in the house tonight. All right. I think I've scrolling down. All right, so I think I'm at the bottom somewhere here. We got about almost 35 people sitting up in here. It's going to grow. We got some folks out there still following the Summer Wells case, and that's good. That's fine. You know, Summer needs justice too. You know, we got some other activities going on, but tonight I wanted to come on and do a special Cue the Truth with you concerning our boys, Classic and CINCEREPETTUS. And we've come across some information that I guess we're going to fine tune tonight from the last live that Miss Q, myself, we had 12 Step, we had K Smalls, we had, let's see who was that. There was a number of people, Mr. Bossman. Blake joined us for that live. And we chopped it up. And by the time I turned my head, it was 5.5 hours later. And I said, wow, this has been some test. So for those of you just joining us for the first time covering what we did last time, I'm going to try to recap tonight what we did last time so you don't feel like you missed anything. Because we were able to begin to tie together a lot that's been going on in this case. And let me tell you, folks, this is one extraordinary case, and there are a lot of moving parts, indeed, more so in this than any other case that I have looked at or covered on my channel. And one thing that you'll find stepping away tonight is that you'll see how big this case really is. When we started, we covered a number of elements of the case, from the boys allegedly going missing out of California City, California on December 21st of 2020. And as the story unfolded, we followed that story up until the press conference. And everybody who has seen Jacqueline and Trezell West's press conference knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was the talk of social media. Most certainly. But before we get into it, I just wanted to thank everybody for showing up. Miss Lorraine Muhammad is in the house. Kentucky Girl 270 is in the house. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you. Hope everybody is doing well. Everybody had a good weekend. We had a lot going on, but we're going to get busy. So let's get it. Let's go to work. All right. Welcome, everybody. Tonight, we're going to cover some facts about the Orson and Orrin West case, aka Classic and Cincere Pettus. Two toddlers that went missing out of California City, California on December 21st of 2020. That is the story. Tonight, we're going to be covering some information that I was able to gather and put together for this exclusive live, and to keep us on the same page. Those that have joined me in previous lives covering this case, you know how close this case is to my heart. And when this case was obviously brought to my attention, I went digging fast, hard, and deep. And that's what we're going to be basically doing tonight. We certainly have a special guest coming, and going to be joining us, Miss Queen Talks Crime, who is a content creator on her channel. That's going to be joining us as soon as she is available. But I'm going to open us up and get us started. So with that said, let's get to our disclaimer. The information that I'm going to be providing you tonight is research that was taken from the internet, YouTube, news articles and clippings from the internet, and under the copyright disclaimer section of 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. I bring to you our boys, Cincere and Classic Pettus. At the time they went missing in California City, California, allegedly on December 21st of 2020, the boys were 3 and 4 years old. It was stated that they went missing after being out at home in the backyard playing with chalk. This is what we were told by their adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West. Here they are at a press conference 2 days after the boys were reported missing by both Trezell and Jacqueline. And this interview was extraordinary, to say the least, to watch, to bear, and to even try to understand. But today, in light of what has happened currently in this case, we can go back to this particular moment in time and really find out the night and day of the story. And for most of you that have followed this case, watched this press conference that both Trezell and Jacqueline did on December 22nd, 23rd, I believe, at the time that this was taken, we've seen some extraordinary things occur. And those extraordinary things that had occurred was a very, very heart-heavy, detrimental moment, not only for them, also for the biological mother, Miss Ryan Dean, who was notified shortly thereafter that her 2 biological sons were missing out of California City, California. The adoptive parents didn't know what happened, where the boys may have went, or nothing. So you can just imagine what went through her mind, what went through her entire system, knowing that her boys were lost now. And after an experience that Miss Ryan Dean went through prior to the boys going missing, is, to say the least, one extraordinary experience I wish on no mother to ever experience at all. We'll be getting into finer details and a little bit of background as much as we can on Ryan Dean, because a lot of the moving parts in this case is going to heat up dramatically between now and the time of the upcoming criminal court trial that Jacqueline and Trezell West will be present for. Okay? Here we were told that the boys were out here in the back. They were playing with chalk. Trezell was out here. It was cold that day. He wanted to make a fire. He came back here in the backyard to find some wood, I guess, to burn in the fireplace that they had. Although the house does have natural gas in it, and the house can be heated in different ways, he decided to come out and get some wood and throw some wood and to take some wood into the house. When he did, he saw the boys. When he turned around to go back out to the backyard, the boys were gone. His wife, Jacqueline West, was inside, allegedly, wrapping gifts, Christmas gifts, for the 6 kids that they have total. When he returned to ask her, did he see the boys? She said no. They were allegedly outside in the backyard playing with chalk. Now, did anybody know right off the bat, what chalk was. Now, the first thing that came to my mind was chalk from a blackboard, writing chalk. Little boys with writing chalk writing on the ground back here. That's what popped in my mind, only to find out that that wasn't true. There was no listing in the police report that the police during their investigation ever found markings of chalk anywhere in the backyard. Hence, red flag. And they started popping out left and right and left and right. And for them to come to the conclusions that they did shortly thereafter was no surprise. But here is where the boys were allegedly supposed to be. And when Trezell noticed that the boys weren't back here, him and Jacqueline searched the house, they searched the yard. They did a frantic search, from what they tried to tell us, all over this backyard. And one thing for sure, and one thing was certain, shortly after the boys were reported missing, Chief John Walker of the California City Police Department was called in to investigate this. He took his men and other authorities and agents into this area and did what is called as a 360 search from a pinpoint and spread out in miles. People from the local neighborhood here came out to search as well. But shortly thereafter, at this particular press conference and giving an update as to what happened to the missing boys, he also said something very interesting. And that thing he said, when asked, did he believe that there was foul play involved, he affirmed that he believed that there was foul play. And the reason why he said that is because he could not understand how those boys got out of the backyard. After having tracking dogs, cadaver dogs, special technology equipment that was brought in by the FBI, scan that whole entire house from top to bottom, yard to yard, house to house, block to block, along with helicopter. I think there was FLIR equipment that was used. For those of you that don't know what FLIR, F-L-I-R equipment is, it's used as night sensory equipment where you can pick up body heat, thermograph technology they used. All that to try to find these boys within a short period of time. One of the comments that he made, which was very interesting and to say the least correct, is that when people go missing, you gotta jump on it as quickly as possible. The longer you take to find missing person, whether it be male, female, boys, children of any kind, they need to be found within 24 to 48 hours. Anything past that, your chances start to dwindle, and most likely it becomes harder to find anything. But in this case, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And so when Police Chief John Walker brought that statement out into the public, we knew that he was starting to put the pieces together. According to the statement that Jacqueline and Trezell West had made during their press conference, and according to his investigation 7 days later, he came to realize that there was definitely something wrong. The boys couldn't have got out of the yard without some kind of assistance. He was interviewed by Byron Wang, then working as a news reporter for, I believe it was KGET News, and they had a very interesting interview. If you haven't seen it, please go back and take some time and really listen to that interview. I think Byron Wang did an excellent job trying to tighten up the timeline. Because in any criminal case, in any case that comes to our attention, time becomes the essence of that case. Who, what, when, where, how, and why become the questions to delineate time. And so that's what John Walker did. He did that from the time the call came in on December 21st of 2020, that evening, all the way up until the latter part of February of 2021. And still no sign of the boys. March 1st of 2021, that case moved to Bakersfield, California. And here you have Sergeant Robert Pear, lead detective for the Bakersfield Police Department, is now in charge of this case, along with the Bakersfield police resources that they used. The FBI was also a part of this search investigation, as well as other agencies. Yeah, the DA's office that was involved, all sorts of things. They were able to collect, examine, question, and I said, oh, good, maybe, just maybe, they'll have a better shot at finding the boys. But however, from March 1st of 2021, they worked this case hard. We followed them during one of their field searches on that same day or shortly thereafter, not far from where the boys used to live in Bakersfield, not far from the Casa Loma apartments. And so this was an area that was searched. You had field representatives out here, FBI out here, you had search and rescue out here, you had volunteers out here, you also had the biological members of the biological family out here on that day as well. Searching, looking, hoping, praying that they would find some answers out here. I'm sure that that search was not in vain. Okay. With that said, I want to begin taking a look at certain things that I know that's going to come to light during the upcoming court proceedings. I believe that when the DA's office mentioned in their press conference, based on the 5 counts that was brought about in the criminal indictment that was approved by the grand jury, one of the pieces of information I wanted to begin looking at with you, and most certainly I've spoken to Mr. Boss Blake about this as well, was that the house was searched, the yard was searched, the 2 side yards were searched, and also the surrounding area was searched. One of the heaviest pieces of evidence that was collected that I'm sure that they may have gotten a hit on during the time the case was in California City, California, was this item right here. Can everybody see that? And at the same time, give me a sound check. I'm still working with a new computer. So type a 1 in the chat if I'm coming in loud and clear, and we can continue. But this is one of the heaviest pieces of evidence in this case that I believe they may have gotten a hit on. And when I say gotten a hit, I mean collected sufficient evidence to know something and to find something. Oh, sounds good. Okay, great. Beautiful, beautiful. Um, because this was the item that I looked carefully at, and I said, I wonder if something happened in the van during the time they moved from Bakersfield to California City, California. And I'll tell you the reason why. I'm going to share with you the reason why. But in looking at this picture alone and how that van sat, and what we know that van did on a specific day, at a specific time, and near a specific place, they were able to collect evidence from that from the Aspen home. We saw 2 search warrants, 2 of them, folks, that was issued at the Aspen home. And when we hear Trezell talk about, oh, we let them in, we let them search the house, and they could have come in and, did anything they want, but we don't know why they had to get search warrants. I said, I know why they had to get search warrants, Trezell. It's because your story wasn't believable. There was something that you and Jacqueline West told the police and investigators about what happened that didn't ring true with them. So, to protect the integrity of their investigation, they got search warrants anyway. Not only one, but what was most interesting is that the second one that they went back there with, when they went knocking on the door, they went knocking on the door with guns drawn. Does anybody remember that type of one? If you've seen that video clip, that news clip of them going back in with that second search warrant, how many of y'all seen the law enforcement authorities draw guns outside of the home knocking on the door? Indeed. Indeed. Let me just do this real quick. I'm going to, because I see Miss Queen Talks Crime is in the room. And I don't know if the link might not be working from the one that I emailed you, but I'll go ahead and drop that link in there for you, Miss Queen Talks Crime. Welcome. Welcome you all. My goodness. Okay, but okay, good. We got ones in here. They had guns drawn on a second search warrant. I said, now that's troubling. Do they know something? There's something going on here, because this story is not holding water. Why would cops have to draw their guns coming back to do a second search? You have to ask yourself that question. There were answers in the beginning of the case, folks, that didn't give us the appearance of answers at the time. But now, looking back at those news clips and as to what the police did during the course of their investigation, early in the investigation, we're starting to pull the answers out now. Much better answers, clearer answers. So I just want to do this real quick and welcome.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
No, your link worked fine. I just yeah, just getting settled. You already know. I already talked to you. You knew what I was doing. But yeah, I was just getting settled and getting dinner together and everything. But yeah, I'm good now.
Oh, good. Well, good that
Sorry.
you can join us.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone in the chat. All right. So what I missed?
No, you didn't miss much. I'm just warming up.
Okay. Yeah,
We
I knew
were
you were forming up. Yep.
we were
Yep.
just giving everyone a little bit of a recap from the time this story unfolded, and start to walk through some critical areas that I've looked at that I believe that the Kern County DA is going to be bringing to our attention during the course of the trial.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I am building the content of tonight's live. So I'm just getting started, but good to have you. Good to have you.
Also, let me shut my door. My kids are cleaning up.
Okay. All right. I shall proceed. I shall proceed, and then
Okay.
we'll begin to
I'll go
start.
ahead and mute while you're proceeding, and I'll hop in whenever
Okay.
I need. Okay.
All right. Super. Good to see everyone here. All right. Let us continue. And so when they grabbed this piece of evidence, I said, wow, if there's anything that's more telling now than it was when we first saw this, this is going to tell a lot, because this is the vehicle that the children were traveling in, going back and forth when they were in Bakersfield, and going back and forth from Bakersfield to California City, and then going back and forth from that time up until the boys went missing. This is going to be presented as evidence in the trial. There are going to be some findings regarding this piece of evidence, because it's going to hold a lot of evidence regarding the children that traveled in this vehicle. Keep that in mind as we proceed. Okay? Also, evidence that was collected via search warrant from Wanda and Philip West's home on Potomac at this location, where there were search warrants. I believe there were 2 search warrants issued here as well. I didn't see, was able to see or capture any videotape that showed police walking here into the house with guns, but we know that they were there twice. And I started scratching my head. Wow, I said, they're getting these search warrants to search the 2 homes that the boys travel back and forth to. I wonder what's going on here. And I'm sure everyone has scratched their head and said the same thing. Is somebody getting arrested? We thought, we hoped somebody was going to get arrested, but no, they were collecting evidence. And the evidence, I'm sure that part of it is that vehicle seat that you see over at the left-hand side in the back of the yard, the seat which may have been allegedly taken out of Trezell's van, was left back here in the backyard of both Wanda and Philip West's home. The boys' grandparents' home. Also, any evidence in the yard as well as in the house, I'm sure they collected. Direct and or circumstantial evidence according to what they were able to find. One piece of evidence I know they're going to use, we all know they're going to use, and this is this piece of evidence here. The videotape surveillance footage taken by the neighbor the night the boys went missing. It will prove exactly what Trezell West did and what Jacqueline West did according to their statements made to the police, both the California City Police on their interviews and also on any of the interviews that the Bakersfield Police Department, the detective division, had taken during the time when they had the case. But here, they didn't expect this, folks. Jacqueline and Trezell West did not expect video camera pointed directly at their home during the time the boys allegedly went missing. And thanks to AV Watchman and his team, I think it's AV News, Miss Roro, Miss Crenshaw, all of the folks that were involved, boots on the ground out there during the time that this was taken. This is one piece of evidence that we know that the DA is going to use. This is one piece of evidence that is going to definitely identify timeline and the activities of both Jacqueline and Trezell. It was very weird, very peculiar, very out of the ordinary as to see their behavior in reference to their two children missing, allegedly at this particular time, on this particular date, and what they did. What we saw was extraordinary. What I saw was extraordinary because I kept saying, who gets into a van from the passenger side to drive away? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? I certainly said that. I said, that doesn't make sense. What is that? When AV Watchman and I reviewed and examined this video surveillance footage together on my channel, we were chopping it up. We chopped this baby up. And so I know this is direct evidence, part of the direct evidence that will be used against them. We saw him get in that van from the passenger side. We saw him drive off the property, make a left turn, and shortly right there at the corner, make a right turn and disappear. Only to find that he only disappeared for 6 minutes, stating at the press conference that he had went down that way and hit a bunch of corners and came across a neighbor. Hey, did you see two little black boys? As he stated at the press conference, only for him to come around full circle, went around the block, folks, 6 minutes to look for his two sons. 6 minutes. We never see Jacqueline come out of the house. We never see her hit the front or look in the yard or the side yards or start to walk up and down the street at all. No evidence of Jacqueline searching for nobody. Shortly thereafter, Trezell returns. And what does he do? He stays outside, not going back in the house to notify Jacqueline to, hey, look, I couldn't find the boys, call the police. He gets out the van and stays outside about 13 minutes. Now, we saw that on the video surveillance footage. 13 minutes. What the hell was he doing? If Jacqueline didn't know that he got back, what the hell was he doing? I'm thinking he made a phone call. I'm thinking he may have made a phone call to Wanda or Philip West, his parents. Only to find thereafter, shortly thereafter, that the California City Police dispatched police officers to this location. I think it was close to the 5 o'clock, close to 6, if I'm not mistaken. One other piece of evidence that they're going to use, but before I move on, Ms. Queen, did you have a commentary on this? Some of your thoughts? Okay, you're probably making.
All right.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's okay.
All right. So you just covered the van, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know the date that it was towed away? Was it before the 3 months or during the 3 months?
You're talking about this picture here?
Yes.
Oh, this is during the time after the 911 call was placed. So I believe shortly
Oh,
thereafter.
okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, I know which one that I'm thinking it was
Okay.
another van, the other van that they towed away in front of Wanda's yard. Okay. I know which one that is. Okay. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, you covered it good. If the DA is gonna use that van, um, and they whatever evidence they collected in that van, DNA, uh, any type of fluids, they're definitely gonna use that. So I agree with you on that. They're definitely gonna use that in the as evidence in the trial.
Mm-hmm.
And is that what you covered so far? The van?
Yes.
Okay. And then I heard you talk about him, Trezell, saying he looked everywhere, but he really didn't. He just bent the corner and came right back.
Right. Right. We were talking
Yeah,
about
so
the 6 minutes that it took him to leave the property and then return 6 minutes later, only to not go right directly back into the house, but stay outside of the house for
yeah,
about
by the
13,
tree.
yeah, for about 13 minutes, give or take.
Yep, exactly. Yep, so I agree with you. Everything on there that was all um premeditated.
Mm,
Premeditated.
right. So this video surveillance footage of the night the boys went missing, allegedly, will be used as direct evidence in this case. And the jury will be able to see this in its entirety, as we saw it in its entirety, uh, unfold for them to come to their own conclusions as to what actually occurred here versus what was stated by Trezell and Jacqueline West. Okay. Hope everybody, wow, we got 93, almost 100 people up in here. All right. Well, much love to everybody. Welcome.
Y'all get those likes up.
Okay. Another piece of direct evidence that will be used in the case, which will be, I would say, the most damning. The most damning is this one. Also captured by AV Watchman from the same neighbor's house. And this was dated on the 19th, the morning of the 19th, where we see Jacqueline and Trezell prepared to leave from California City, California, en route to Bakersfield, California, with only 4 of the children and not 6. So you know the question the district attorney is going to ask: where were the other 2 boys on the 19th? According to this video surveillance footage, where were they? if they were not with you. The California Police Department, under the leadership of Chief John Walker, had nothing in their report to state that the boys were at a relative's home on this day, the 19th. Anything registering the boys being any place. And so this piece of evidence kind of begins to collapse their whole narrative. I believe they knew this then, once they saw this footage, to know that foul play was involved.
Also,
Once they laid eyes on this particular part of the footage, they knew right then and there that there was some foul play involved.
yeah.
And
Also, I
when,
want to interject
Mhm,
really quick
go right
because
ahead.
so we already know they have a bunch of witnesses, and the people that said they saw the boys on those days, if they're witnesses for the state, that's also gonna be an easy witness for the defense because the kids was murdered 3 months prior. So how did you see them on the 19th, family members? How did they have them if they was already deceased? So that's something I just thought about. It's gonna be a whole situation because they stated, that they had the boys, as far as Trezell's family. I know for sure one of them said they had them on the 19th trying to help cover, but technically we know that they didn't have the boys,
Right,
that they was deceased.
right,
So if the person that said they had the boys on the 19th and they're witnesses for the DA, the defense is going to have a field day with that because, they're going to ask, how did you have them? You're not a credible witness because you lied, because they're deceased 3 months before the 21st.
right, right.
So that's something I just thought about with all the people that, said they seen them in that time span where we know now, years some change later, that they was deceased. And
Mhm.
these two, Trezell and Jacqueline, didn't have these babies. And the video, shows that they didn't have them. But you go ahead.
Right. No, I follow you. I'm following you. Want to welcome everyone in the chat that's just joining us. We've got a number of people up in here tonight. Y'all come to see John Q and Miss Queen. Okay. Liz Hernandez, how are you? Welcome. Miss Yunu is here. Okay. Oh my goodness, everybody's cutting it. Okay. To Raw TV Uncut is in the house. Welcome. Miss Kathleen Logan, welcome. All right. This will be used as direct evidence. Also, I laid my eyes on this piece of direct evidence, which is twice as damning as what we're looking at here on the screen. This was taken at 11. Can you see that number? I know it's a little blurry. It's just come out 11:36:38 in the morning on December 19th. This was supposedly a time when they were going Christmas shopping for the kids. Supposedly. Okay. But we know for a fact the video surveillance camera taking this footage only shows 4 children. Okay. But the double dam of this is this. It's not how they left, it's how they returned. And here on the 19th, at 15:43, they returned from Bakersfield from being out there several hours earlier with no kids. Excuse me. Let me grab my water here. They've got no children. Once again, where were the boys on the 19th? When they left, where were the boys? When they returned, where were the boys then? Had something occurred then without the 4 children with them, being that they were visiting already with the grandparents? We know for a fact the boys were not with them on the 19th. That's going to be used as direct evidence without a doubt. And so the district attorney, with all of their evidence collection from March 1st to when the Bakersfield Police Department taken over the case, all the way through the entire spring, all the way through the summer, case updates on the news. We have one of the boys' birthdays in June 11th, through the summer to the month of August, where another birthday, one of the boys, had occurred, into the months, into the fall, into the winter, and now we come into the new year. And throughout all that time, and all of the searches that were issued, all of the items, over 170 items that were collected as evidence in this case, all of the re-interviews that were conducted by the Bakersfield Police Department, all of that was brought to a grand jury from the investigators from the DA's office and brought before them to see if they could indict Trezell and Jacqueline West. And whatever the grand jury saw in terms of the evidence collected throughout all that time, there was a true bill voted on the evidence collected to issue a positive vote based on the evidence that was reviewed by the grand jury to go ahead and indict them. Probable cause. And when you have a grand jury that indicts for probable cause, and there is a true bill on that indictment, it stands heavy and hard to say that these folks got something. And I believe they got some smoking guns out of all the evidence that they collected. And so with that said, they went ahead and issued warrants for Jacqueline West on March 1st of this year, and also issued a warrant for Trezell's arrest. These folks were on the road in a Winnebago going down the highway because they may have gotten wind that something was going south for them, and going south quick, as the DA had mentioned during the press conference. So they showed up to be arraigned, where the judge for both Jacqueline and Trezell, still wearing masks, by the way. I would have loved to seen their full face standing in that courtroom, standing in front of that judge, to see what their full face looks like. I'm sure everybody in the chat room wanted to see that too, but we're still under COVID conditions, so to speak. So if I was a judge, I would have said, pull your mask down. And for the both of them, no bail on the case was granted. Appointed attorneys by the court was rendered. And these folks are going straight to trial. And straight to trial indeed. Because Cynthia Zimmer, Kern County District Attorney's Office, knew exactly what she was doing when she and her team put together the evidence collected in this case to bring it to a grand jury to get an indictment on both of them. And the indictment charges are incredible, to say the least. When I first heard what the indictment was about, I could not believe it was second-degree murder on 5 individual accounts. And so with that said, when I saw it, I had to see this a couple of times. Cynthia Zimmer has got everything she needs and everything that she believes she needs, not only to get a fair trial in this, okay, because she's already taken care of that. And we found that out today, all right, by the gag order. But she's got this case locked down, lock, stock, and barrel. She's put security measures on this case, protective measures for everything. This woman is very, very smart. So in her own words, what I want to do is to share with everyone. And you may have seen this already. I'm sure you have. But just for tonight, just to go over, see where I had it here. Just to go over just a short segment of what she presented in that press conference, and watching and looking at her face, watching and looking and listening to what she was telling the audience. And I'm just queuing this up right now. Just give me a moment. Was incredible, not only for me to see, but for us all to witness. Charges of second-degree murder, felony child abuse, falsifying an emergency. I mean,
Can y'all hear me? John?
Yes,
All right.
I hear you. I
There
hear
you
you.
go. Okay. Yeah, the sound went out for a little minute. Okay.
Okay.
Thank y'all in the chat.
So as I was, yeah, definitely. I was having a little bit of an issue. You know, the StreamYard and YouTube. They always cooperate when you need them to cooperate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So here we have the district attorney, Cynthia Zimmer. Pay careful attention. I'm not going to play a whole bunch, a lot of this, but just the PowerPoints because it's definitely well worth listening to carefully. She was very compelling in what she told at this press conference.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Zimmer. I am Kern County's district attorney. I have information about Orrin and Orson West, the two young boys who were reported missing from California City 14 months ago. On December 21st of 2020, Orrin was 4 years old and Orson was 3 years old. Their adoptive parents in California City, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, reported to the California City Police Department that the boys had disappeared from their backyard. The California City Police Department began a search for the boys in the area around their home. After a period of time, the FBI joined in the search, as did the California Highway Patrol and search and rescue from the Kern County Sheriff's Department. The community also came out to assist in looking for the boys, but to no avail. They were not located. 1 week later, crucial information came to light that necessitated the involvement of the Bakersfield Police Department and the Kern County District Attorney's Office. Law enforcement worked diligently, hundreds of hours in the next 12 months, looking for the boys. This morning, I'm saddened to announce that the investigation has revealed that Orrin and Orson West are deceased. The investigation has also revealed that they died 3 months before their adoptive parents reported them missing. However, I am pleased to announce that this week, the Kern County Grand Jury indicted Trezell and Jacqueline West, the adoptive parents, for the murder of Orrin and Orson West. The indictment charges 5 counts. The first count is murder, charges them both with murder, with the victim being Orrin West. The second count charges murder, with the victim being Orson West. The third count charges felony child abuse against the person of Orrin West. The fourth count charges child abuse against the person of Orson West. And the fifth count charges false report of an emergency. Naturally, the first 2 counts carry the most time in state prison, murder, It is charged as murder in the second degree. That carries 15 years to life, but with 2 victims, the potential penalty or the maximum possible penalty, if convicted, is 30 years to life for each defendant, Trezell and Jacqueline West. Now, the grand jury indictment is a formal charging document, and we followed a process in charging them before the grand jury, and that was the district attorney requested that the grand jury convene to hear evidence regarding an indictment that we presented them. The district attorney's office then presented information to the grand jury, and the grand jury found there was sufficient evidence to hold Trezell and Jacqueline West responsible for these murders, and they returned what was called a true bill. So oftentimes we call it they were indicted, but what they did is returned a true bill on the indictment. Department 1 Superior Court judge issued warrants for the arrest of the defendants, and they were arrested last night at about 7 p.m. in Kern County. They are currently in the Kern County Jail waiting for an arraignment on the indictment, which will be tomorrow. There will be no preliminary hearing in this case because an indictment is a substitute for a preliminary hearing, and this case will proceed directly to trial. The announcement of an indictment in this case probably raises a lot of questions about the facts of the case and what you and the public would like to know. I'm not permitted to go over the facts of the case in this case, but there is something that I'd like to discuss because the facts of the case are to be what we produce in the jury trial, both the prosecution and the defense to have a fair trial in this case. However, one of the I'm sure is, have bodies of Orrin and Orson been found? And the answer to that is no. They have not been found. However, I would like to emphasize that the fact that law enforcement have not found their bodies does not preclude a murder prosecution. As a matter of fact, there have been many hundreds of what we call no-body homicides prosecuted across the United States successfully, and even no-body homicides have resulted in murder convictions in Kern County. I'd like to introduce the people who are standing here with me today, who have been crucial in bringing this case forward. Eric Smith is the person to my right here. Eric Smith is the supervisor of the homicide unit at the DA's office. Next to him is Brian Estep, also a homicide prosecutor in the DA's office. And these two gentlemen are the people from my office who presented the evidence to the grand jury. And this grand jury hearing began 3 months ago in December of 2021. Mr. Smith, would you like to come say a few words?
On behalf of myself and, of course, Deputy District Attorney Brian Estep, I would like to thank the allied agencies who worked tirelessly throughout this investigation. That includes also the Kern Regional Crime Lab and also the DA investigators in this case. Kern County law enforcement worked together at first in an attempt to locate Orrin and Orson West. And as that continued, it turned into the investigation into the disappearance and ultimately the homicide of the two boys. The lead investigative agencies, Bakersfield Police Department, California City Police Department, they worked tirelessly throughout the course of this over a year since this occurred to follow up on leads and complete the investigation. Investigation that was continued even throughout the grand jury hearing. The indictment itself took approximately 3 months. Over 50 witnesses testified during the course of the indictment. Much of those witnesses' testimony was extremely emotional as it related to this case, but that's to be expected from a case that involves the murder of 2 innocent children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. To my right, to my left, are 2 chiefs of the lead agencies in this case that did most of the work. Bakersfield Police Chief Greg Terry and California City Police Chief John Walker. Chief Terry, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is not the outcome that we and so many had hoped and prayed for over the last year. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of Orrin and Orson, who, with this news today, their worst fears have been realized. I want to express my pride and appreciation to our homicide team, who invested so much personally and professionally to find the truth in this investigation. We now realize that the search for the boys began after the real tragedy had already occurred. But it is the work and diligence of the investigators, our partners, California City Police Department, the FBI, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and many, many other law enforcement agencies, community members, our own community members, and members of the public. That diligence, that refusal to give up is why we are here today. I also want to express my appreciation to our district attorney, Cindy Zimmer, for her leadership and for her commitment to the safety of our families here in Kern County, no matter how difficult the case. We also would not be here without the teamwork and support of the district attorney staff. They provided invaluable support to our investigators, a perspective and advice and counsel along the way. And again, we would not be here without that support as well. And the last thing I would say is this is not a resolution in this case. And there will not be a resolution completely in this case until these boys are brought home.
Thank you, Chief Terry. Chief Walker, would you like to address the audience?
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Let me emphasize, first and foremost, this is a tragedy, an absolute tragedy that was reported in my city, that 2 small boys could be killed by their parents. But I do have to say how proud I am of my department from the second we got the call until we brought in so many resources. We're very grateful for that. But the second we got the call, we were on scene. We began to work it and look for these kids. And we had so many agencies involved, Kern County Sheriffs, the Search and Rescue, CHP came with their helicopter to help us. But the citizens of Cal City came out in numbers to look for these kids. And it began to grow to the outlying communities and eventually across the nation. We were getting people who were interested and they wanted to know where these kids were as well as us. And then eventually Chief Terry and the Bakersfield PD came in to help us out, and they've been instrumental to make this happen. So I want to thank all those people again for helping us to try to come to some kind of resolution with this. But again, the bottom line is we have 2 small boys that we believe are no longer here that are dead, and that's terrible. But again, I want to thank the District Attorney, Cindy Zimmer, for being brave and diligent to push this forward and actually bring this case to the surface. So we will push forward. We haven't given up, and we'll continue to give them any kind of help that they would need in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Walker. While the defendants in this case, Trezell and Jacqueline West, are presumed innocent, the securing of a grand jury indictment is a major step in ensuring that there will be justice for Orrin and Orson. This case has tugged at the heartstrings of people in my office and in law enforcement and in this community. It is a horrific tragedy that these precious little boys had to lose their lives. But I want to thank everyone who was involved in this case, law enforcement officers. It must have been so difficult for them who searched for Orrin and Orson, the community members that came out, helped search, and then the community members that just continue to care about what happened to them. So if you have any questions, that's the end of my comments, but keep in mind, there are ethical restraints as far as what we can talk prior to the trial in this case.
Well, let me try, Cindy.
Thank you. I think he had his hand.
Okay. And there you have Cynthia Zimmer, District Attorney, presented collected evidence to a grand jury to succeed in getting an indictment rendered on both Trezell and Jacqueline West. Now, defined in this indictment on second-degree murder, felony child abuse, and obviously falsifying an emergency. These are the three stacked on one on top of the other, just as clear as day. And with the indictment that has been now fulfilled, we now will be skipping this whole trial will be not the trial, but this whole process goes directly to trial on day one. The trial is scheduled May 23rd so far. Obviously, if there are any changes regarding that date, they will let us know. But to see and hear and finally witness what's on the table here for Jacqueline and Trezell West is Godspeed. It's Godspeed. Didn't happen quick enough, though, but nonetheless, it's Godspeed. I want to just welcome Dr. Latina. I saw her jump in here. And as clear as day, as compelling as Miss Cynthia Zimmer put it, we are going to see a trial. We are going to see a lot of the moving parts come together. In our last live with Miss Q, Mr. Boss Blake, 12-step woman was there who joined us, as well as LC for Justice. She was a part of that panel as well. I was trying to remember names. We chopped it up for a number of hours. And Miss Heather brought to our attention a document that I didn't know existed in the present time. And so I just want to take a moment and share. Let's see if I have that. Yes, I do. What that document is, because it's going to be a major part of the criminal case in this proceeding. I'm going to share my screen. And let me know when you can see it. All right, number one. Thank you, boss. You know how I do it. I want to bring it all to you. This is a civil suit document. This civil suit document, as stated, was electronically filed on September 29th of 2021 by the Kern County Superior Court by Vicki Ferguson, deputy. This is the law office of Darren M. Ritchie and Antonio Castillo of the Dre Law Office out of Beverly Hills, California. And this document has been written by the attorneys for the plaintiff in this case, Brenda Pettus and Charles Pettus. Brenda Pettus being Charles Pettus's mother, the grandmother of Classic and Cincere Pettus. And these charges in the state of California under the Metropolitan Division, case number BCV-21-102292. And this is a complaint to the court. And the individual plaintiffs are Charles A. Pettus and Brenda Pettus are the plaintiffs versus the defendants, the County of Kern, Kern County Children Protective Services, California Children Protective Services in the state of California, and DOES 1 through 100 inclusive. Any other defendants, as well as, and you see it before you on the screen, Ryan Dean as a nominal defendant in this case. A civil suit has been brought by the biological dad and his mother of a negligence civil suit, both negligence and wrongful death. This was written up September 10th and filed with the court on September 29th of 2021. So here is a separate civil court proceeding outside of the criminal court proceeding that is now underway that's also simultaneously unfolding. So you see how big the moving parts are becoming. Charles Pettus wants justice for the damages, the psychological, the emotional, and all other damages that are a part of this document for both Classic and Cincere. So we have a wrongful death and negligence suit under a civil trial on one, and then we have a criminal suit against Jacqueline and Trezell West on the other. Both of these cases are going to collide because both of them involve Classic and CINCEREPETTUS. There will be a lot of attorneys representing this particular case, as you can see, with both sides, both in the civil and criminal. I don't know if the civil trial is going to unfold first or after or during, but whatever it is, they're going to run simultaneously together. Once again, because they both involve Classic and CINCEREPETTUS. I wanted to show you this document. Thank you, Heather, for sending that to us. And the document talks about damages. You know, in a civil trial, it's usually when you sue someone, it's for financial relief. That was involved by both Charles Pettus, the biological father, and his mother, Brenda Pettus, the biological grandparent in this case. And it just introduces everything that they're claiming in the negligent and wrongful death. It is a very interesting, detailed complaint that's been filed in the court. I'm not going to read it to you tonight. It's kind of lengthy in terms of what's being said, who's it being said to, et cetera, et cetera. But we now know that Kern County Child Protective Services, and so forth are going to court in reference to how they processed the adoption of Classic and Cincere how it took place, when it took place, for what reasons it took place, etc., etc. So I wanted to be sure to include this because this is a very big moving part outside of the criminal suit filed against Jacqueline Trezell West. All right. Welcome, everyone. All
I'm
right,
thinking,
so
John, that the suit will probably come after the trial. Well, it is going to be hand in hand, but I think it would serve better justice after they be convicted, of the murder, and then that wrongful death would automatically, because they're convicted of that. You see what I'm saying?
right, I
So
do.
yeah, that would go perfect in going right behind. I'm thinking they'll probably do with the trial and then the civil suit.
Right. But then again, the law works in mysterious ways and they could run simultaneous
Yeah,
because
that'll be interesting.
I've seen when I did settlement conferences for foreclosures here in New York, I'd go to court and be part of the case that I was handling, or many cases that I handled in terms of foreclosure prevention. I would see a host of people going from one courtroom to another because they had another court case to take care of. If it's parking tickets, it goes here. If it's car accidents, they go here. If it's criminals, they go here, et cetera, et cetera. So I've seen people physically move from one courtroom to another because they had cases on the same date. So they could run simultaneously to a degree. We'll see. We'll see. If everything takes place as the time factors are, I don't have a time factor as to when the civil trial is going to begin. I'm still waiting for information on that. Once I get it, then I will definitely post that. But we do at least know, at least for now, that May 23rd is going to be the start date of the trial. Today, what happened was, let me just bring that up real quick. We had Jacqueline and Trezell West's attorneys, not necessarily today, but I believe it was yesterday or the day before. They came out and showed us who they are. These are court-appointed attorneys for Jacqueline and Trezell West, and it was very interesting to say the least. And I'm shaking my head. I literally shook my head from side to side. Number one, KGET news should have better volume audio because when this press conference took place, the audio was so low. You literally had to strain to hear what was being said. They didn't say too much, in my opinion. They, I guess, complained about the DA coming out as compelling as she did. Since this is an election year for the district attorney's office, they threw that in there. And what they basically end up saying, bottom line, is that they want a fair trial. They're ready to go to trial, but they want to make sure that, from their point of view, that Jacqueline Trezell West gets a fair trial. I like what Cynthia Zimmer did, which was today, which was to obviously receive a gag order that was issued today on the trial itself, sealing the documents and protecting all parties from sharing or communicating with each other. And she's taking care of that as well. But what I got from, this press conference was a bit that they were on the uncomfortable side of it, because they weren't able to question witnesses or get documents and so forth. Almost like playing the crying game here. But we'll see how that pans out. I thought it was a little bit of a waste of my time because of how they conducted this press conference. The second thing was kind of confusing. Was I think it was Jacqueline West's attorney, who is the woman to the right, excuse me, of Mr. Hennessy, which is the attorney for Trezell. She came out and spoke to the press conference in Spanish. And it kind of, I understand some Spanish, but to a degree, she came out and just started talking Spanish, most likely reiterating what Mr. Hennessy had revealed during the early part of the press conference. But it was just kind of confusing, to say the least. What did you think? Were you able to see this?
Yes, I was able to watch it.
Yeah.
I was able to watch it.
Okay. And what were your thoughts on it?
My thoughts
Did you have
was,
issues like I had?
well, I don't see where Zimmer did anything wrong. I mean, her job is to defend the kids. I mean, to represent the victims. And I think she did it very well. I mean, you don't want a DA that is up there that unsure of her job or what she doing. I mean, you're supposed to speak confident, especially if you know what you got, and I don't see nothing wrong with what she did. But, I'm not an attorney, but I don't see the big deal of what they're accusing her of doing.
Right.
I just don't, I don't I don't understand it. But I think this is what they're doing, the defense attorneys, is they're slick defending their clients right now. Basically trying to
Right.
tell the public they're innocent until proven guilty, which that is true. They
Yes.
are.
Mhm.
So they're slick defending their clients by coming out saying what she said already swayed majority of the public. But at the end of the day, I mean, the public, I don't believe everyone in Cal City or Bakersfield know, but yes, it is a high profile case. And yes, people was looking for the boys all this time. So, I mean, a lot of people are going to know about it. A lot of people are going to know about it. But depending on if they can find the unbiased, jury is going to determine whether, they go to another
Right.
venue. But I don't see where, they're accusing Zimmer of doing anything, inappropriate. I don't see, I thought she handled it very well. She didn't answer no questions about the case, she just told us about the indictment, a little bit, that the boys was murdered. She told us what she could tell us, but she didn't go in detail. So I don't see where, they what they're even saying here. It's a bunch of
Right.
BS to me. But what do you think?
Well, now, according to, like I said, it kind of went for me. Number one, not being able to hear too well, so I had to wait later on in order for YouTube to get this press conference and have the audio turned up, so we, had a clearer understanding as to what they were talking about. More so than anything else. But yeah, innocent until proven guilty. They want a fair trial. They're ready for trial, is what I got. Short, brief, to the point, and I agree. I agree. But when we go back to Cynthia Zimmer's compelling news conference, She laid everything out on the table. You know, when you read the indictment, and thank you so much for sending that to me. Everything was all clear and everything. There was a part of the indictment that definitely had a head tilt on it, and it was the part where under the I think it was the felony child abuse, the aggravation part that I was reading involved a minor in the commission of a crime. Everyone, I began listening to a few other channels, and everyone jumped to conclusions that perhaps one of the children, one of the boys, of the four boys, possibly the oldest, may have been involved. I don't see that in any way. I can't really put my finger on it right now as to whether that may be true or not. But there was a minor that was involved in possibly the cruelty aspects of the indictment. I couldn't really picture a minor being involved in a murder, but like I said, all of this is still coming together, and as this proceeds, we will find out whether a minor was involved in the murder or assisting in the murder of the boys. What points to murder is the big question. What does the district attorney have that puts murder on the table? What tells the DA that they were murdered 3 months ago prior to the 911 call allegedly made by Jacqueline and Trezell West on December 21st of 2020? Is it a material witness? Direct evidence of a material witness? Is it video surveillance footage that none of us has seen that may have been in the neighborhood at the time during the earlier times that they were moving there within the month of September that may have caught some kind of activity? Material witness, video surveillance, circumstantial evidence, all building to put murder on the table without the physical bodies of the boys. Something they have gives them a murder charge here. And it's going to rattle our brains as to what specifically it is. Was there a witness present during the time of the boys' demise? You see, and all of that is being kept close to the chest, and which it should, until they get it out in trial, because once they get it out in trial, it's over. Game over. And we will all know who that person or what specific evidence, whether direct or circumstantial evidence, locks that murder charge up. And obviously the testimonies of both Jacqueline and Trezell West is going to be a turning point in the case too, because now that press conference that they did way back in December is going to be used as evidence against them based upon the statements they made to the news reporters. That's also going to be used as direct evidence against them when they first came out and told us what happened, and only to find out that both California City and the Bakersfield Police Department, along with the FBI and search and rescue teams, found, let's just say, found evidence to the contrary in reference to their statement. So it's going to be very interesting, and I hope they're able to televise on social media in some way, shape, or form the trial, just like they did the Ahmaud Arbery case, so that we can see what they look like watching themselves in this press conference that they gave on December 21st of 2020. and also every step of the way as to what the DA is going to reveal in terms of direct evidence as well as circumstantial evidence. And I think, you know, that they're going to take the defense attorneys for they're going to give them a real hard time trying to climb this hill to defend them, because if they've got damning evidence that cannot be contradicted in any way, shape, or form, you know, it's going to be lock, stock, and barrel for the DA. We got Renegade in the house. Welcome. So in following this trial is going to be, I'm ready. I am ready.
I'm
Clear
ready
my
too.
table. Clear my table from May 23rd on. I'll be ready. I'll be watching, and I'll be ready. You know, for 14 months, we waited for some answers, and we got a little bit more to go to wait for those answers now, because those answers are finally coming with Jacqueline and Trezell West present when they do come.
Yes. I can't wait for this trial. I'm very anxious.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
very anxious because I do believe by how and what the DA is saying that I don't think it's solely just on the children, as the witnesses and just witnesses. I believe by the date, you know, the timing, that they have some type of video surveillance as well. Um, they must have some strong things, you know, and they probably got DNA, things like that in the
Mhm.
van.
Yeah,
As long as well as with the witnesses, the children, and as well as the some type of video surveillance. I think all that together is how they was able to get the indictment.
right.
So I agree.
And the interesting aspect of this too, I'm just feeling that the DA may have further indictments coming down the pipe. That
And I
Jacqueline,
can't wait.
yeah, Jacqueline Trezell didn't act necessarily alone. That there were other parties involved, or other parties knew what happened to those boys. And everyone is, like, including myself, is going to be watching Philip and Wanda West, because their home is a major part of the case, because there were search warrants issued for their home regarding items concerning the boys, regarding statements made regarding the boys being there at a specific time.
Exactly. That's a lie. That's a
Yeah,
lie. That's you broke the law.
yeah. So I'm looking at things just warming up. I got a feeling something is also going to knock on their door and get them out that door, in reference to them having foreknowledge
Mm-hmm.
of what was going on the night the boys went missing, or the time they officially went missing, and knowing that they were never going to see those boys again.
Yeah. Because at some point they asked, where are Classic and Sincere?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, they knew. They knew.
Yeah.
And you still decided to lie to the police. So yes, bring down the indictment. Bring them down. Everybody that lied, that came out, that told a lie about them seeing the boys, take them down.
Yeah. Because John Walker, during the interview with Brian Wang, he asked him in regards to who was the last person outside of the adoptive parents who saw the boys last. Do we know any of that? And it was alluded to that, yes, some folks in Bakersfield, the grandparents, during the time they went to visit them, was the last folks to see the boys. He couldn't hammer down a date, though, but it gives indication that, it does imply that the grandparents had some kind of knowledge during the time they last seen the boys. Now, is this in the month of September? Is this in the month of August or July or June? And I think the month of June, there was an event at the Potomac House where Wanda and Philip West live, and it had something to do with a fire. It had something to do with the fire in the backyard, that they were burning something in the month of June. However, the DA, based on the evidence that they've collected, points to the month of September. This is right after, I believe, either it's a classic or Cincere's birthday, which was August 8th. And then there was another birthday on June 11th. I'm wondering if the June 11th birthday being here and or the August 8th birthday being here, something had occurred. Because at the same time, we have Jacqueline and Trezell West getting ready to go to California City, California, to live off the grid, so to speak, according to what Trezell had mentioned verbatim when they secured the home there. You see, so there are certain factors of the case that I'm looking at that's trying to tie a tighter timeline. The DA is giving us at least a look into the month of September between the 1st and the 30th. I'm feeling in some way, shape, or form that may have happened a little earlier than that. And it occurred more so in Bakersfield than it did in California City. Now, Jacqueline and Trezell West during the month of September has got something to get out of Bakersfield for, to live off the grid, because they no longer have the boys. In that respect. So, but
Yeah.
that is it's just, I'm happy to know that this is now moving in the direction that it's supposed to move in, and that's getting justice for
Yes.
both
And we'll
Classic
find
and
out.
Sincere.
Yeah. We'll find out in trial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and whatever the evidence is, based on the indictments that have been now rendered, I am just, I get a chill when I think about it. Anxious, if you will, to see how the DA presents the damning evidence, proving beyond a reasonable doubt that these boys were murdered by the hands of Jacqueline and Trezell West in the time that they were, had the boys, and they did something so malicious, so vicious, just unthinkable, if you will, to these boys. And we're not talking about one, we're talking about two. I mean, when you think of it, it's almost unheard of. Who would do that to two children relatively at the same time? And for what? What was the reason? Now, kids are going to be rambunctious, as Trezell talked about. Yes, you got to expect them to be rambunctious, but to say that during the course of a press conference related to the boys being missing, could you tell us something about the boys? They are going to be rambunctious, where I thought his throat got so dry, he had no saliva in his mouth to even speak any further up until he cleared it.
Yep.
He's about to choke on his own words because he knew he was telling a damn lie.
Yep.
So in that regard, it's hard. It's hard to even imagine what could have happened to those boys. Well, one thing for certain, and it appears to us right now, according to what the DA has told us, they got the evidence to lock a murder charge down.
Yeah.
What is going to be the defense? Because they already look lost, according to the press conference they have.
Well, what I think the defense is gonna be for Trezell and Jacqueline, I believe they're, like I said, they done lied all this time. They're not gonna fold now. They know they have no bodies. They're gonna take it all away. I believe they're gonna take it all away and deny. I believe they're going to put it all on whatever person or persons that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're going to try to say, we didn't tell them to do this. We didn't guide them to do this. We didn't order them to murder those babies. They did it on their own. We just came in there and they was deceived. However, they're going to paint it, but they're going to put it all on the weight on someone else. I also believe that's another reason why they incorporated other individuals so their hands won't be all dirty.
Right. Good point. I'm glad you brought that up because within the written indictment itself, it does say that there was a minor that was involved during the commission of the felony, being forced, coerced, as just legal language that's in there, but made in a way, threatened in a way to do bodily harm to both Classic and Cincere. That is the material witness that may be the smoking gun that points the finger at both Jacqueline and Trezell West in this case that I believe so far, up until more evidence and more proof of it comes to light on the way I'm looking at it, that will be the turning point of the case. If there was a minor involved, and that minor would have been a witness to everything that they saw inclusively at that time, that will also flip on them. They made me do it, or I watched them do it during the time I was there. So that could be the key material witness that they may have amongst all of the other 49 witnesses that's on the witness list for the prosecution.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so when you got 50 people that are going to be witnesses for the prosecution, it sounds to me like all 50 people know Jacqueline and Trezell West. Character traits, behavior traits, everything about them. Everything about them. Enough to convince a grand jury to indict them based upon their testimony to the DA.
Yep. So we gotta hope that those witnesses is,
she's going in with both guns.
yeah, they're gonna have to, because the defense gonna bring it.
Yeah.
The defense gonna bring it. They're gonna bring it. They're gonna try their best to, tear down any and all witnesses. I mean, that's their job. So I just hope the witnesses are strong enough and their mind and everything is right, because this is it's not gonna be easy,
Right.
It's never easy when you involving two babies,
Yeah,
it's
because
never easy.
when you have character witnesses, that's exactly what the defense has got to go after, is the character of the witnesses on the stand giving testimony. And if they begin to chew away at character witnesses because they got shady backgrounds or they're former dealers or they're running the show, whatever, that know Jacqueline and Trezell West and what they're capable of doing, it's got to be an area of attack. Any defense attorney would definitely use that arsenal to attack character witnesses. Statements that were made to police, they have to go after. I mean, there's a host of stuff. They
Yeah.
got their homework cut out for them.
Yeah, defense. I mean, they can literally chew up if these people knew what they did to those boys and they didn't intervene or didn't say nothing in that time frame, the defense is gonna have a field day.
Right.
That's why, it could go either way. That's
Right.
why we really need those babies' bodies, to be honest. That would be a slam dunk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, I believe the DA has got a strong case they're going to present. I don't think the defense attorneys, I think someone in the chat room said they don't look too promising. I would agree. And I do apologize for not touching on your comments tonight. When I jump up here and I want to present some information to you based upon my review of what I've collected on this case. I start to get that sharp focus to make sure that I cover everything that I want to. I believe I did, and I'm glad Miss Queen Talks Crime was able to join us this evening to review the material, review some of the facts that will
Yay.
eventually be brought up in trial, damning facts, and both direct and circumstantial evidence in this case. So we're just getting warmed up because we're going to be taking a look at all the moving pieces, including the civil suit that involves the biological father, the biological grandmother
Oh yes, I'm
against
deep diving
CPS.
into. I'm deep diving. You already know how I get down over there. I'm deep
Yeah.
diving. You
Yeah.
already know I keep it cute over here with you, baby. But all you know, I'm a deep dive. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So, but I have been reading some of your comments, not all of them. So forgive me. Once again, there will be follow-up. I'm going to come back and we're going to have a special open discussion live where we'll cover your comments. We'll go back over certain aspects of what we did present to you in the last live with Miss Q, Boss Blake, etc. The test live that is now part of tonight's live, and have an open discussion. We may do it on Q Squared tomorrow night. I believe that's what Miss Q wanted to do. So we'll be back tomorrow night for Q Squared to have an open discussion and to hear your thoughts about what you believe is the direct evidence and circumstantial evidence in this case. What do you believe is a smoking gun in this case? How do you feel that the defense attorneys are going to do in trying to climb over the mountain of evidence that's going to be presented by the prosecution? And I know that it's going to be lock, stock, and barrel for the case because now the gag order has been issued that puts a full lockdown on this case from getting tampered with.
Which is good. Because
Yeah.
we don't want no mishaps. We don't want them to get off. So
Right. Exactly.
hey, I can wait till May 23rd. Long as that case is solid as it can be. Hey, put the key on it until May 23rd. I'm good with that.
Right.
I'm good with that. Protect the case.
Well, let me just see if well, thank you, Boosh.
Yes, he used to be.
Mama J, thank you. Well, we try on this side. We try. We try to. We've been looking at the case for a long time. I've presented this case on my channel for quite some time. Covered both the boys' birthdays, and it just delights me to know that this is moving now to trial, to once and for all get some closure on this particular case. You know, and up until the prosecution tells me that how these boys died and by whose hand and in
Yeah.
what way, and everything that I want to know about it, will I not be satisfied until I hear it. And I'm sure that goes with everyone.
It's gonna be difficult, but I'm ready to hear it.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah.
way, it's gonna be bad and hard. But yeah.
And Miss Mama Girl said the smoking gun is going to be the other kids. That's in her opinion.
Hmm.
And it could be. It could be.
I think it's the smoking gun gonna be some type of surveillance video. Maybe somebody was stupid enough to have their phone recording, no telling what they was into. So we gonna
Right.
find out all of that in trial. What was they really doing in that house? Because
Right.
we know some strange things was happening. Some sadistic things was happening in the house. So it's all gonna come out. But I think the smoking gun is gonna be from how they can back it up 3 months without no bodies. That's something with a timestamp, a time frame. That's something you can see and visualize, in my opinion.
Right.
That's what I think the smoking gun is.
Well, Liz Hernandez says the loan officer said that when she asked Trezell, he said he only had 4 kids during the
Oh
time
yeah,
of,
I
I
remember
guess
that. Mhm.
they were purchasing the house. And that's a damning statement too. Maybe one of the 50 witnesses for the prosecution to confirm that.
Mhm.
That's a
That
good
yeah,
point.
that might be. That's a good one. Because she
Very good
sure
point.
did. That she did say that.
That
Yeah,
is very, very good point.
yeah, she did. So she didn't know nothing about no 6 kids.
Right. Right. And that statement may have been used on a number of other people as well, saying that Trezell had stated that he only had 4 kids. Nobody in
Mhm.
the neighborhood ever seen all 6 kids together,
Yeah.
ever.
I'm surprised it's just 3 months back that they was killed because remember they was asking, on the news and stuff if anybody seen them in the last 12 months, in the last year. So I'm thinking they was murdered a while, maybe, a while, like a year, you know,
Right.
because nobody could, everything, the witness, everything was conflicting. This person saw them, maybe possible a kid, can't say which kid, when, and nobody, there was no actual real, sighting. And then they was asking about them a year, anybody seen them in the past year. So I was like, well, dang, how long the kids really been missing? So I was thinking, maybe 6 months to a year. But
Right.
I'm shocked if they just, did that to them 3 months prior. I'm actually shocked. I mean, it means they was just before they reported missing, and they was just not, they was just alive 12 weeks prior.
Yeah, and that's that's the hard part. And I can imagine
Yeah.
what the investigators that had to go through all of this information, do all the interviews, try to collect as much testimony in this case to build a list of 50 witnesses, that is a major part of this trial coming up. What they said, what they received, to collect, all of it, put it together, and it all points to murder. I get the child abuse part, which was a significant part, because if you look at how the DA built this all up, it's the strongest, the murder charge, then the lesser of the murder charge is felony child abuse, and then the lesser of that was falsifying an emergency, that 2 kids went missing,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that damn well they weren't missing during the time you called. They were missing prior to the time you called, which
Exactly.
hence builds a big negligence, case. So she stacked it right. She stacked it very well. And thank you, Miss Jan. Much love to you. Thank you for that PayPal. And she put a gag order on it. She let everybody know, y'all ain't messing with this. This is 14 months of time, resources unbelievably used in this case. I believe far more resources or thereabout, more so than in the Summer Wells case, even though it was in the Summer Wells case, they use EquiSearch to go out there to in Rogersville, Tennessee, to perform a massive search, unlike anything I've ever seen. But yet to do the same thing in another case where the community was the EquiSearch, if you will, to go out week after week after week, day after day, month after month, to do all those searches, on foot, and to volunteer their time to do these searches. It's history in the making. We're seeing things we've never seen before. We're seeing love, especially in this case, like we've never seen in any other case, on a massive scale.
Yeah. You right. You are right.
Yes. When I saw the charges, I came looking for Bush said, when I saw the charges, I came looking for your thoughts. Yeah, the day I got that information, it was like, oh my God, what? I'm hoping that they were going to find the boys. I'm hoping that we're going to find the boys being laid up with somebody.
I thought they was found. I thought they had bodies, when I first heard. When she said they didn't have the bodies, I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
It was just it blew my mind. I mean, for at least 3 days, and that was during the time my computer was down. Well, I didn't have a computer because I spilled coffee and whipped cream on my keyboards, and I said, what a time for me not to have a computer, because now this case is broken. This case is finally, had a breakthrough, a major one, and everybody on YouTube was all over the place with this case. Sharing the press conferences and going over the Jacqueline Trezell press conference, going over the DA's press conference, a lot of the news clips carrying this case forward. And I said, okay, well, when I get my computer, I'm going live. So.
Yeah, because I'm like you when it comes to on the indictment. It yes, they could have had ordered or induced the children or a child to help murder, but it's other ways you can be involved in that crime other than actually in the murder. You know what I'm saying? The pre, before, during, after, clean up, throwing away trash, help rolling up. Sorry for being kind of graphic, rolling up someone into something, get help making them maybe clean the wherever they was at when it happened. If it got messy, scrub. Don't come out this room to this room and scrub. Them walls are scrubbed. I mean, it's so many ways. I don't think of just one. I think outside the box. It could be many ways they could have induced them to help, whether it was in the action itself or the cover up, or the cleanup.
Right.
So I'm kind of like you. I'm not just gonna say, hey, that's just the only, that's what it is. It's possible. It's on the table, but you know, it's other possibilities too. They could have helped in the murder.
Yeah. So a lot's going to most certainly unfold, and it's just mind blowing. How that indictment was written. It's only 6 pages long, but how it was written, it was precise. It was written clearly. There was a portion of it that was, I believe, directed at Orson more so than Orrin. I think it's Cincere versus Classic in that regard, as being the one who perished first, and
Mhm.
then the second child perished right afterwards. So, because there's certain words in detail that you could read that points to premeditation.
Yeah,
In other words, this
definitely.
was definitely planned to get one of those kids out of here, so to speak, get gone. And most likely, who's to know yet? We will know though, whether the brother tried to jump in and try to stop what was going on, and obviously succumb to what happened to the first child.
Yeah, I mean, because you can tell, pretty much they've been together at least because they're like a 1 year apart. But after that 1 year apart, they've been together all this time together. And Orrin know who Orson is. He know that's his little brother, and you can tell in some of the pictures that I've seen, through this whole year, especially recently on Facebook, you can see how he cared for his brother. He was right there, when he was a baby. He knew that's his brother. And you could even see a little bit of him protecting him then, knowing this is my brother. This is my family. Kids
Mhm.
know, you know, because he was always so close, hugged up to him, holding on to his little brother. He always was like this. So I'm pretty sure, he probably tried to intervene.
Yeah,
That's automatic when it's
and
your
and
family.
and got caught up in what is ever happening,
Yeah.
and it was just sad, just a sad situation, to say the least. The West should have taken a guilty plea, if anything, to save their children from testifying in court. That's a good point, Miss Kenda, Ann Kenda. I don't know if it's a miss, so I'll just say Ann Kenda. Um, for them to not to plead not guilty,
Oh yeah.
we didn't. In other words, they're saying, "Hey, we didn't murder those children. You got it all wrong."
I mean, they confident. I'm telling you why, because they don't have those bodies. They know that whatever they did with those bodies, they are confident that nobody's going to find them. And they feel like they still have a chance because of the bodies not being found. I put myself in the mind of a killer. And I'm gonna be confident if you can't find what'll put me down, I'm gonna be
Mhm.
confident, if I put myself in their shoes, yeah, they're gonna plead not guilty. I'm telling you, they're gonna ride it all the way.
I'm
Gonna ride it
thinking.
all the way.
I'm thinking too that Trezell and Jacqueline could have used the other children to discipline the smaller children, including
Uh-huh.
Classic and Sincere, in some way, because the kids were rambunctious. They like to wrestle. They like to make noise, just make noise. And rather than them do the discipline, and this is just me thinking,
Yeah.
rather than Jacqueline or Trezell do the discipline, or take disciplinary action to calm those boys down, they sent the older brothers and to do it for them, so that this way, if anything was to occur, they wouldn't be directly responsible for what
Mhm.
had occurred, because their answer would be, oh, kids will be kids.
Yep. That's why I see it going.
But to hide behind something like that, I mean, that's weak.
Very, very. Yep. They gonna ride it to the end like it. And like I said, even if Jacqueline do decide that she wants to, if she even know, because like I said, if Trezell is smart, I wouldn't have told her where I put the children if he was the one that hit him. But if she does happen to tell, it's gonna depend on if they even gonna want to make a deal, because if I got a strong case and I got direct evidence against you, I mean, it says they have direct and circumstantial against both of them.
Yes.
So she cannot just be free of nothing just because she told what about it. She got to be charged with something. They have evidence, so they maybe can work something out, knocking some years down. But she ain't no way she gonna get off from this. These are 2 kids.
And I agree with Tracy. Uh, Says that direct evidence is usually an eyewitness,
Yeah.
a confession, an admission, or a video.
Yes. Correct.
Hmm.
That's direct.
Yeah. And that's bold and damning right there. If you got anyone or a combination of them all together, yeah, that's a smoking gun.
Yep. And you know what? What's so crazy? I was telling someone else about this case, and I was like, just talking about, telling them what, some people on YouTube, their thoughts about what, that they think when they read the indictment, what they got from it, because everybody's interpretation is different.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of it. Everybody's gonna take something different from the indictment. And I was telling them that some people, and you can get that from the indictment that they had a child possibly do the dirty work, well, helped in the murder, in it. And I was just sitting there talking to him. I was like, and I was just trying to fathom it and put it in my brain and just, and I have a 11 or 12-year-old, and I'm like, imagine like she would not do. I mean, like I couldn't. There's no way I could probably try to threaten to kill her, and she's not going to beat her sibling to death. I mean, I was just really putting myself in the shoes of what happened, just trying to fathom this. How can you? And yes, you can groom a child to do something. You can scare a child to death to do something. But I was just sitting and just trying to put myself in the position of what would I say to my older children to get them to murder their younger sibling.
Right.
It's deep, but sometimes my mind goes deep. You already know how I am.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy.
And Dr. Latina brings up a very good point, because you see, as this had unfolded, we are going to find out exactly how CPS, Child Protective Services, reacted to this whole thing from day one, from the time that they removed the boys from the biological mother, where they went regarding foster care. There was one place they went to under foster care. Something had occurred. Word got
Yeah.
back to CPS that there was some kind of violation or something going on. So they pulled the boys from that particular home and
Yeah.
then placed them under foster care with Jacqueline and Trezell West.
Mm-hmm.
And then most likely at the same time, CPS, I guess, issued some kind of instructions to the biological mother in regards to getting the kids back that
Correct.
she had to fulfill But in accordance with whatever they asked her to do, I'm sure that she found it very difficult and stressful to try to fulfill everything in regards to possible child support, because we're talking about two boys. I believe I did read some paperwork. I'm digging through was some earlier paperwork that I was able to obtain in reference to an order by the court for the biological mother to pay child support, which was, let's just say,
It had to have been while they was in foster care. Because
let's
once they
just say,
adopted out, they no
yeah,
longer right. Yeah.
let's just say she couldn't afford it. Okay.
Okay.
That part, which delayed her from getting custody back, okay, which now put the boys into a different different activity in reference to now adoption. Well, say, they probably took a look at it and say, well, if you can't take care of your child support bill and fulfill some of the other requirements that we want you to fulfill, then we have to move on. And so we're going to put a judgment order in for the child support, and give us an answer as to the reason why you can't fulfill this. I'm sure she gave an answer according to my recollection of reading the documents. And shortly thereafter, the court moved on. And then they were already in the placement, foster care placement of Jacqueline and Trezell, and then went into the early adoption stages at that time. Now, the biological father don't know anything about what's going on because of the stress that was involved with the boys being taken away from the biological mother at the time, separated the two from being together. You see, so he went his way, she kept the kids. Something happened regarding a family member not watching them or whatever happened. And then you had CPS called in to take the boys and then begin a process through CPS, which led them to the eventual adoption by Jacqueline and Trezell. So we got to go back to CPS and say, how did you vet these people that had no income?
Well, that's the thing. He had income before when he adopted them. He had a job.
Right.
He just stopped working after that. After the money came in. But yeah, and they had no background. No criminal record. I was looking at some of these people in Cal City and Bakersfield. A lot of them are foster parents, and you would look like, how the hell they foster parents? But they are. I mean, if you don't have no background, no charges, criminal charges, and you work a job, they'll give you a child. And you pass, all their, tests, the mental tests, and all the other requirements, and look like they passed, and that's how they got them. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, they didn't. They didn't.
So I'm sure the court wants to find out how this whole thing was processed, why the biological mother did not receive her children back, reasons why and the causes, and why they selected Jacqueline and Trezell West to adopt them, and how fast that process took. So you're going to be pulling CPS and then all the people that were involved in that process in that courtroom, because they got to tie this story together.
It's going to come out everything on everybody's part, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. It's going to come out at the civil, at the suing, at the lawsuit, because the state is going to put up a fight. I mean, a lawsuit, they're going to put up all the documents of why so-and-so was taken, what happened, if there was anything, all of that's going to come out in their lawsuit. Everything. So we'll know exactly all the questions that people are having. It's all going to come out in that lawsuit.
Yeah. I guess part part of I guess what really drew the attention, whether Jacqueline and Trezell knows it, to themselves, was the fact that we never seen them out there searching for the boys. We never seen them at a candlelight vigil. We never see them pursuing finding the boys in any way, shape, or form. No media coverage on them. Nothing on the internet stating that they were involved in a search process or working with agencies to search for the boys. Nothing. So that right there drew more attention to them than anything else outside of the first press conference that they did, because that was a debacle. That was a shamble. And yet not to see them take any physical action for 14 months on any activity to try to find and locate where those boys were, only up until the time they got pulled over and arrested. Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. But
Oh,
now
yeah.
they've given them food for thought. They're in jail, no bond, and they have to await trial. Their defense attorneys have got to prepare themselves, prepare both Jacqueline and Trezell to possibly take the stand in their defense, because I don't see, as of yet, I don't see anything that they can stand on right now. I think they even have a leg to stand on, more or less anything else, compared to everything that the prosecution is going to put on the table.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It really is sad. It's sloppy. I know I'm behind because I gotta catch up. Uh-oh. I got an email here. I love it when we go live. Emails, my phone goes off. It's like, okay, wait a minute. My hands start to go to work over here, All right, so
Yes.
let's see what came in. Wow, another PayPal. Wait a minute. Let me see who this is
Thank
from.
y'all for the PayPals and the love y'all
Yeah,
showing to
thank you for the
God.
love. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you, John Q, for always having such great content. Cue the truth. And this is Leslie B. Oh my goodness. Go ahead. Leslie B, thank you.
Oh, I think she might have went
Okay,
on a bit.
let's see what Miss Heather had sent me something. Let me see if I can pull it up. Miss Leslie B, much love to you. Thank you. Wow. Oh, right. Okay, this is 6
2.5.
pages. This is directly from the District Attorney's Office, Superior Court of California, Kern County of Kern, Metropolitan Division. First amended indictment.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think.
Thank you,
I
Miss
think
Heather.
Heather sent it to you earlier.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I'll go back over that one. And while reading 187 murder in the second degree on 2 counts was enough for me. I mean, I said, uh-oh, you mean the search is over? They have no bodies. And what Jacqueline and Trezell should do at this point is to tell these folks, where they are. But yet they
Yeah.
turned
Yeah.
around and said that they weren't guilty. Oh man, I can't. I'm still shaking my head at them.
Yep, they're gonna drag it out. Yep.
I am still shaking my head at that. But I just hope and pray that someone hits the tip, gets the tips in. You know, there's the iron line to justice, the email box to send tips right at the bottom of the screen. Tips at calcityboys.org. For anyone watching this live on this channel covering the case, that's where the tips go now. And it's a paper trail that will help in the search for the boys, because they need to be brought home now. We've been informed that they are deceased. We've been informed that they were deceased before the 911 call, 3 months prior to that call. And so we need to find them to give them their final resting place, and most certainly get justice for whoever
Yes, they
did that
deserve
to
to
them.
be laid and rested in peace, not out in some damn desert somewhere rotten. No, they deserve better than that. And these two monsters don't care about it. They
Yeah.
thinking about, oh, they can use that against us, so we ain't giving that up. Yep, they don't care about that because they're evil.
So there could be further indictments, in reference to people who supported Jacqueline and Trezell in regards to the felony child abuse. People knowing what was going on in the household, people knowing how Jacqueline and Trezell disciplined their kids, and didn't say anything about it.
Man, I can't wait to see who the witnesses is. Because I'm telling you, it's going to blow our minds. I'm telling you, I believe it's more than the West. And it's other witnesses that knew something wasn't right. Well, something was going on. And we're going to find out. And once the trial, we'll find out. We'll find out. I think it's going to blow our minds, though. So be prepared, John. Hold your seat.
Yeah.
It's going to be a roller coaster.
It's a lot going on, and what I tried to do tonight was to try to pull it together, because now we know that there are 2 lawsuits going on, one civil and one criminal, involving our boys, involving the names of our boys. So the biological father, whatever he was doing during that time where he wasn't notified as to what was going on, in regards to the biological mother having issues with CPS and things of that nature. He was, according to that document, he was kept in the dark, never notified, never given the opportunity to take custody of the boys once they were removed by CPS, nor did they give the grandmother any custody of those boys, knowing that they were taken from the biological mother. So now, why is that? Why didn't CPS contact them in reference to the boys at that time? Hence, negligence on CPS's part for not doing so.
Yeah. And then you got to wonder and ask, did they even know, did Ryan Dean, tell them, who the father is, or inform them? And did they really know? You know what I'm saying? Because if CPS knew, then yes, it would be on them. If they knew that who their father was and didn't inform them, yeah. And then Charles is gonna have to prove that he wasn't informed. See, all that's gonna come out.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we begin to see why there is a civil suit against CPS. And the nominal defendant is the biological mother. And I believe how it's written up is that she didn't even notify him
That's what I'm
as to
thinking.
what was going on with the children. You see, so she's going, according to the suit itself, they're looking for relief even from her. because she never reached out to them to let them know what was going on when she could have. But who's to say that's going to be determined
Right.
by the court now?
Right. Like all that's gonna come out,
Yeah. Yeah.
how or if he didn't know, and if he, all of that. If he did know, he didn't know, who didn't tell who, all that's gonna come out. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello,
Ugly,
Brooklyn.
ugly.
Brooklyn Cord Cutters. Is Brooklyn Cord Cutters in here? Oh, okay. What's up, Brooklyn? Thank you for joining us. Brooklyn Cord Cutters is a content creator on YouTube. I got to get over to your
Okay.
channel. I know I'm subscribed. I just haven't had the time to jump onto different channels that I enjoy listening to, because I've been working on this case. I'm working on the Daniel Robinson case, looking at doing a follow-up on the Summer Wells case, and I'm also looking at the Kendrick Johnson and the Jelani Day case. So my table's full. My table's full, but I will definitely get a chance to go over to your channel. But thank you so much for coming to join us this evening. I just noticed that. I said, Brooklyn's in the house.
Yeah, I couldn't even read the name. I'm glad you read the name, because
Yeah, I'm trying to
I didn't know how
I'm
to put that.
multitasking over here.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Multitasking. But we've covered a good portion. I'm going to come back with a follow-up with Miss Q tomorrow night on Q Squared. We're going to be covering continued coverage of Classic and CINCEREPETTUS and the criminal indictment charges against Jacqueline and Trezell West, along with updates on the Daniel Robinson case. Mr. David Robinson was able to have a recent search done. He was able to get to, I believe, several well sites and a vertical mine that had a tire on top of it. And I'll be connecting with him shortly to get an update. We're also looking to get an update on Daniel's phone to be forensically examined by a digital forensics company that's out of Arizona that's going to do an analysis and a cloud extraction on the phone. We're able to locate that company, get him that contact information so that he can at least get that one part of the forensics done. And hopefully the phone will be able to tell us a whole lot more in detail with timeline as to what we know now. And then go to the next piece, which would be the airbags and Daniel's clothes for DNA examination. And then get his laptop computer also digitally forensically examined, and then get the whole entire Jeep done, which would be scrubbing the Jeep is what is it's called. Vacuum, fibers, DNA, I mean, the works, and once again, all that does take money. It takes a lot of it. But I said, look, let's get the phone done, and then let's work our way to each piece like that while you're accumulating what you need in the GoFundMe that's established on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. So yeah, I got my hands full, and but I'm so glad I was able to come across your channel, Miss Queen Talk Crime, to see the updates that you've been posting on the boys, Summer Wells. I mean, you're still hot in the kitchen, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, yeah. I got some extra time. I'm sitting down till this baby come out. So yes, I got some extra time. But yeah, I'm deep. I'm going deep, deep, deep. I ask the questions that people don't ask. So you know how I go. But yeah, it'll be some content coming. Yep. I already got it written down.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. Once, so that I don't forget it, I'm writing down. I'm writing down the different notes. I could be in the kitchen. I could be cooking something. Something hits my head. I write it down, then go back to doing what I was doing. Then when
Yeah.
I'm ready to deal with it and get in front of my computer, And it says, okay, I'm turning page after page. I got to go to this website. I got to go over here. Got to get an update over here, pull this together. Meanwhile, everything is starting to evolve with the with Classic and Cincere's case now hitting a hot spot on YouTube. Next to the Summer Wells case is still burning, and that's good. That's good because Summer Wells deserves justice just as well
Yeah.
as the boys do.
Yes. All of the victims. do.
Jelani Day deserves justice. I mean, we
Yes.
can keep going on and on and on. You know,
Yes.
sad, but
And it's
you know,
work.
it's
Just when these
reality,
cases, but we getting them out there. We
right?
breaking down all of them. But before I leave, I just want to say one thing. Thank you, John, for having me on your platform.
Well, yes, you are welcome here anytime.
I
Anytime.
know. It's been so long. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yes,
I've been working like crazy.
it's been what was the last we covered? Jelani Day, right?
Jelani Day.
Okay.
I think it's been maybe like a month or so.
Yeah.
Been a
Yeah.
month. Yeah, about a month or
Mm-hmm.
so. We worked, yeah.
So
So
yeah, you know I keep busy. You know I keep busy.
yeah, we
You
got
know,
to. We got
with
to.
Q Squared on Wednesdays, Table Talk on Sundays. I'm working on a brand new list. I'm hoping to have Chris Thorne from the Chris Thorne Show on
Oh,
Table.
that'll be good.
Yeah, we're trying to get a day, one Sunday hooked up, or we may even do a special Table Talk on a weekday. You know, we're still working out the time schedules. He's busy on his side. I'm busy on mine. So to work three independent programs on one platform and handle the caseload, I needed
A
two
lot.
assistants. Forget one.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I'm telling you, if it wasn't some of my loyal subscribers, I'm telling you, they helped me out a lot,
Yeah.
especially before I went on leave. They helped me out a lot. So, yes.
Yeah.
And one more thing I do want to say, y'all, just to everybody keep in mind, just concerning all of these victims, if you see something, say something. I
Indeed.
don't care if it's a family member that's doing something to a child, anybody you see on the street, a neighbor. I don't care who it is. Report it. Don't wait till it's too late. Report it. Don't worry about calling CPS or the maintenance. Call 911. Call the police. And try to save someone. You see something that ain't right, don't feel right. Report it to the authorities right away. Cause you never know when it's too late and you don't want to come out. And well, I saw this after a person then got hurt or deceased. So that's what I want to say. Just for
Well,
everybody to keep in mind. You see something, say something.
there you go. There you go. That's a lifesaver in and of itself. But Ms. Queen Talks Crime, thank you so much for joining me this evening. We're about ready to wrap it up. We'll be back here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. for Q Squared with Miss Q Carlock. She's been posting on her channel. If you haven't been there, just stop over. Tell them John Q sent you. Leave a comment at the bottom. She's been doing some great work on her channel. But we'll be back tomorrow night.
Yes. All right. Bye, y'all.
Okay, Miss Queen. Much love to you. And
Much
thank you
love
so
to
much.
y'all. Shout out to y'all in the chat. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Oh, so that wraps it up for tonight. Once again, if I didn't get to your comment, I do apologize. It's beautiful to see almost 100 people that came tonight to help me and support me in tonight's live. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the moderators that holds my channel house down. We don't deal with the nonsense. Never have, never will. We put our focus and attention on what's most important, and that's these cases at hand. I thank all of you for being here tonight, supporting the work that we're doing on the channel. and the 3 programs that we do work on the channel and everything. It's good to see some old faces jump in here as well. Good to see Connie Lockridge and a number of you and new people that has now joined the channel. So yeah, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Make sure the notification bell is on. I tried to keep a stable schedule so you know when I'm coming on, rather than just show up and you may be at somebody else's channel and they could be covering something that has your interest and everything, which creates a time conflict for you. But yeah, so we try to keep a stable schedule, but if it's really, really important, then I will go live instantly. And hopefully you get the notification. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and please show your attendance tonight. Hit the like button. That's how we do it here. And share this information out, because there are some folks that, like I said, are in other channels, may know that I went live, couldn't make it, but yet we'll hit the replay later. Yes, 12-step woman, Mr. Boss Blake, the Renegade, Miss Leslie B. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sending that kind of love to me tonight, as well as Miss Aquahoma, Miss Marley 13, my precious love, Miss Anna, who always shows up before I do, and definitely sends love and puts a blessing on every single one of the lives that I do before I even get to do it. And if I missed you tonight because the comments were flying, you know where I stand. You know where I stand. Oh my goodness, look at that. We got Liz Hernandez, Miss Rachel, we've got Ann Kenda. I haven't seen that name, but thank you for showing up. Miss Mama Girl. I mean, everybody. Miss Heather, much love to you. Tanya M, much love to you. Brooklyn Cord Cutters, thank you so much for being here. And we'll just keep going. The Wilsons, Dallas, thank you for being here. We'll just keep going. We'll dig it. We'll dig it and dig it until we can't dig no more. And that's how we do it here. But meantime, in between time, you know how I always say, we'll be here. We'll be working these cases, and we'll be bringing you the best information that we possibly find to share with you. Our points of view are our points of view. We like to share or have you share your opinion and thoughts with us. So I always like to follow up with an open discussion for those different topics that we do cover, and let you know in advance when we're going to do that, because your thoughts and your opinions are just as important and valuable as ours. So with that said, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm trying to keep the live short. But other than that, we will see you tomorrow night on Q Squared with Miss Q, and we'll chop it up from there. So much love to everyone. Be well and stay blessed with Godspeed. I'm John Q. I'm out.